This is a production of WKNO Memphis. Production funding for Sports Files is made possible in part by
Infinity of Memphis has moved to Germantown Road, just half-mile north of Wolf Chase Galleria, and is proud to support WKNO for its quality broadcasting and service to our community. Quality and service? No wonder Infinity of Memphis feels at home on WKNO. The Lighting Source, major line distributor of commercial and industrial lighting, including hard-to-find bulbs and fixtures, as well as a broad range of LED products. With 35 years' experience servicing lighting needs, The Lighting Source proudly sponsors Sports Files.
The WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
My guest today on Sports Files is Memphis Grizzlies forward JaMychal Green. To say the last 10 days or so have been a bit crazy for the Grizzlies would be a huge understatement. It all started with two big deals prior to the NBA trade deadline, one of which was literally completed in the final minutes. In what many believed would be a quiet period for the Grizzlies, the team shipped starting shooting guard Courtney Lee to Charlotte in a three-team trade that netted the Grizzlies 37-year-old veteran forward Chris Andersen from Miami, better known as Birdman, and second-year guard P.J. Hairston from Charlotte. In addition, the Grizz received 4 future second-round draft picks. Then the Grizzlies sent forward Jeff Green to the L.A. Clippers for guard Lance Stevenson and a conditional 2019 first-round pick. Stevenson, who has a team option for next season at just under $10 million, was in his first year with the Clippers after stops in Indiana and Charlotte. So while the new Grizzlies were trying to get acclimated, the organization dropped some knowledge on us that came as a surprise to no one. And that news was the fact that Marc Gasol would not play again this season. Big Spain had surgery last week in Charlotte to repair, get this, a non-displaced type 2 fracture of the navicular bone in his right foot. I don't know either. Grizzlies general manager Chris Wallace says he expects Gasol to make a full recovery, but adds there is no timetable on how long it will take. So the Grizzlies push on and got back to the grind with a get-together with the Lakers on Wednesday, which just so happened to be the Memphis Swan song for Kobe Bryant. Bryant, as you would expect, was given a gracious send-off with many Kobe fans on hand, but in the end, it was the Grizzlies who would prevail. And now to this week's guest, one of the guys being called upon to pick up the slack for the injured Marc Gasol, a guy who's very confident in his ability. I'm referring to JaMychal Green, and he's next on Sports Files. Thank you so much, man.
No problem. How you doing?
Appreciate you being on the program. So many changes here since the All-Star break, the trades that were made. What's it been like as a player on this team with all these new additions?
No, I feel like everybody's just trying to get adjusted to the new field. It was everything new going on, new players. It's going to be a different style of play, especially with Marc being out for the remainder of the season. So really just trying to find our new identity.
How long does something like that take? I know there's no specific time, but you've had a few games, you haven't had a lot of practices. Is there some sort of timetable where you figure, hey, everybody can click on the same page?
Man, hopefully soon, sooner than later, because we run out of time. We're in a good spot right now for the playoffs, so it's very important for us to continue to win and create distance between that 5th, 6th spot.
Mike Conley came out and said, even though we lost a major cog of our team, important player in Marc Gasol, our goals have not changed. Is it possible that the goals haven't changed when you lose such an instrumental part of your team?
Marc is definitely a big piece of the team, but I definitely agree with Mike. We all competitors, so at the end of the day, we all want to win. We have a lot of vets on the team, some that haven't won championships, so it's important to them to play in the postseason as well. So we take that very seriously.
So I guess there's no time to say, woe is me. Injuries happen to all teams. We just have to deal with it.
Yeah, you just gotta. It's our job for the bench to step up. That now that Marc gone, there's different players that had to step up every night, so we be able to win.
You've gotten into this position, as you said, in fifth right now in the West. Of course, the top 8 go to the playoffs. I guess that you've worked so hard to get to this point in the final 25 games to give that up, that would be a huge disappointment.
Yeah, it will be a huge disappointment. So, like I said, it's very important for us to stay focused and just continue to play hard. You know, I know our chemistry is not there, but as long as we play hard and play good defense, you know, we'll keep ourselves in the game as well.
JaMychal, the injury to Marc Gasol opens up the door for some players to get more playing time, to get important playing time, and certainly you are one of them. Do you feel that this is your opportunity to shine, to show everybody what you're made of?
I do. I feel like God, you know, gave me an opportunity to showcase my talent. And for me to step in Marc's place, I know I'm not Marc Gasol, but I'm going to play hard and just compete, you know, try to do anything and everything to help my team win.
What does JaMychal Green bring to the court?
Man, I'm just going to fight. You know, I'm bringing that effort, energy, hustle. I'm going to do all the small things and just go out there and play hard.
What does Coach Yeager and the other coaches on the staff say to you? What do they expect from you?
Lately, they just been telling me, you know, play with confidence and stay out of foul trouble. You know, that now that we're limited, that just had to play smarter, can't commit dumb fouls, and you know, just be out there moving my feet and just play with rhythm.
What is the one area of the game that you work on the most, that you need to work on the most?
This season, we're working on shooting the ball well to help spread the floor. You know, give Z-Bo more room to attack in the paint and putting the ball on the floor. We got to start putting the ball on the floor a little more and to create from other teammates.
If you came from another generation, as tall as you are, your back would be to the bucket.
Yeah.
You'd be backing down guys and shooting from close range. But in this day and age, in the NBA especially, guys like you, and even taller for that matter, will go outside and knock down threes. I've seen you take those threes. I've seen you have a lot of confidence in your shot. That's extremely important now to make your game more well-rounded and to show how much important you can be to a team.
Yes, sir. I agree. The more things you could do, I feel like the better player you could become. More possibilities for you. You're not just limited to one position.
What's the hardest part of the game for you?
Just adjusting to the pace and to the physicality of the game. You know, some vet moves that you got to get used to out there, and I'm still getting used to those moves. So, you know, just try to keep a smile on my face when it happens.
Sure. But I would imagine, now you don't have Marc now because of the injury, but having been on this team with Marc, on this team with Z-Bo, veterans who play the 4 and the 5 that can really help you. So I'm sure you lean on these guys for advice all the time,
exactly.
right?
Anytime I have a question, I don't hesitate. Go straight to Zach or Marc, and they're always there to help.
When you grew up in Alabama, I'm sure a sports fan like most of us are, and then became a basketball fan. Who were the guys that you looked up at in the NBA and said, wow, you know, I love watching this guy?
Growing up, you know, Michael Jordan. I was a Kevin Garnett fan with the Timberwolves, and Vince Carter, you know, with the dunking and everything going on. So he was very exciting to watch.
Do you ever pinch yourself and say, my gosh, I'm playing on the same team as Vince Carter?
Man, it's like every day my locker right next to his, so just be looking at him like, man, it's Vince Carter, like Hall of Fame. Like, I asked some questions, like it had to be fun to be able to do any dunk you want, and it's just crazy, you know. That's Vince Carter. So just him still being able to dunk,
right?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I would imagine though, once you step in between the lines and it's game competition, you're not in awe of anybody. No matter who the player is, what stature they have in the league. But I would guess when you first got your chance in the NBA, it was kind of like starstruck a little bit, right?
It was surreal. It's still surreal to me to this day. I just be in the house, just been thanking the Lord, just thinking about my position. You know, it's crazy for my dream to come true, you know, to be in the NBA playing. So I'm still taking it in today.
Before the injury to Gasol, we'd see you for some time. Sometimes we wouldn't see you. How hard was it to deal with the fact that you seem to be in the rotation for the most part, but it was never consistent?
I'm not gonna lie, it was very tough, to be in that situation. But I stayed focused, continued to work, and it paid off. Saw what happened to Mark, but somebody had to step up, and if I would have took it the wrong way and just been mad and not working, I wouldn't be in this position that I am today. So I just thank God for keeping me focused and hungry.
You got into this situation by performing very well in the D-League.
Mm-hmm.
You also, though, had a stint in France, right?
Yes,
in between. What was that like?
It's a great experience. I still find myself to this day missing some parts of France.
Really?
Yeah, had a pretty good time over there. It was something new for me, going out of the country on my own. Just the style of play overseas, but it was a fun experience.
Well, what's the big difference in the playing style?
Overseas, you don't have 3 seconds, then you could tip the ball off the rim, just rolling around the rim. So that's probably like the biggest difference.
Would you like those rules in the NBA?
Yeah, I love to be able to stand in the paint for 3 seconds.
What about the other things you miss from having had an experience like playing in France? The food?
They had some good food over there, like the breads. I never ate croissants until I went to France, and now I find myself going to Starbucks, order some croissants and stuff like that. So that definitely put me in the mind of France.
I thought Alabama produced the most croissants in the world, man. I must have been mistaken. The D-League. That's always interesting because you wonder, players like yourself, you were an all-SEC performer, you didn't get drafted. I know that was disappointing, and then you come out and you go, all right, I can sign and play around the world and probably make a little bit of coin, or I can go to the D-League, probably not make as much money, but I'm here and I can get that call, which happened for you. Was that a tough decision?
It definitely was a tough decision. I fought my agent about it.
Oh, really?
My mind was on going overseas to start making money, but he was looking at the bigger picture, and I was told about the D-League from a couple players that played, like just the traveling, the lifestyle is different. So I really didn't know what to expect, but I thank my agent for fighting me. I feel like we made the right decision.
He didn't ask for an increase, did he?
No.
I'm sure there's others, though, that don't get that chance to get called up to the NBA, and they feel disappointed that they. But it must be hard because the ultimate goal for you guys who have played at a high level collegiately is the NBA. Everything else is second, right?
Yes, sir. So it's definitely hard. I feel like in this business you got to be mentally strong. There's gonna be some tough days. You're gonna fight. You're gonna have to fight through adversity, but it's all about perseverance.
You end up going to your home state school. You go to the University of Alabama. I guess you could have went to Auburn, but I don't know. Ole Miss was high on your list. When it came down to it, I can understand why. It's again your home state, but Alabama is such a football school. Why Alabama?
Mark Gottfried. He's a great recruiter. He said a lot of good things that I liked, and I always was very family oriented, so I wanted to stay close to home. Didn't want to be too close like Auburn.
Right.
It's a little too close, but at the same time, I want to be driving distance away for my family to come, watch me play and have a little space in between us.
You sound like me. I didn't play college basketball, but I wanted to be far enough away from home. About 3.5 hours was good for me, and still driving distance. But what was it like when you're playing at a school that is known for football, national championship after national championship? Did you feel like you were treated at a second level athletically to the football, or do you feel that you got your just rewards?
I feel like, of course, football, they're going to get more love than basketball, period, just because that's the lifestyle. That's the lifestyle down there. So, I really wasn't expecting to receive that same amount of love. But at the same time, I knew that we once was a good program, basketball program.
Right.
And I wanted to, try to bring that back. And I feel like my junior and my senior year, we got that job done.
Yeah, there's been some history there. There's no question about it. It's a good program. But you were very close to Ole Miss, right?
Yeah, very close. Andy Kennedy, he's a great coach. He's a great person. Just love him as a human. Him and his staff at the time that was there. And, they were just good people that I could relate to just outside of basketball. So that was kind of big for me. And that's why, that was cutting it close with Alabama.
You mentioned Coach Gottfried, and he sold you on Alabama. And coaches are so extremely important to players to develop you both on and off the court, you know, especially at younger levels. High school players, their mentors. What has Coach Dave Joerger been for you?
It's been a great coach. Been hard on me, which I needed. I'm not complaining at all about that. You know, he corrects me on all my mistakes, and he praises me on things that I do well. So I appreciate him for that. Yeah,
you don't want a coach that just simply says, "Oh, good job," when they really don't mean that, right? Because you're not getting the feedback you need.
Yeah, you're right. So for him to correct my every move and, you know, to praise me when I'm doing well, you know, that speaks a lot, about him as a character, as a coach, and, you know, as a player, you wouldn't want to know different. You know.
So far through your young NBA career, toughest guy you've had to go up against on the court, and you can't use any of your teammates because I'm sure there's a bunch of them.
I say the toughest guy I had to go against is I could think of is probably Dwight, because I had to guard him by myself one-on-one, and with him being so much bigger than I am and strong, I had to fight and lost a lot of energy fighting with him.
He's a monster, isn't
he? Yeah. So that's the only person I could really think of so far.
Dwight.
Yeah.
Dwight Howard. What do you like to do when you get away from basketball?
Man, normally just watching movies, you know, movies that just came out, TV shows, just being with my daughter. You know, I love being with her.
How old is she?
She's 2.
She's 2. What's her name?
Jada Green. Yeah.
Love of your life.
Love of my life. And feel like I never knew what love was till she was here. Yeah.
How about that? The name JaMychal, is there a story behind that?
I just know my parents were saying it was a football player. His name was JaMychal. It's spelled the same way mine's spelled back in the day, and they just wanted my name to be different. Well, his name was Michael, but he spelled Michael the way I spell mine, Nychal. So they just put J in front of it.
So how many times in school did the teacher think you misspelled your own name?
Man, I heard J. McHale.
They're pronouncing it.
Pronouncing my name.
J. McHale?
J. McHale and J. McCall, and I was JaMychal.
But when you wrote JaMychal, did they think you were like misspelling your own name?
Yeah.
So it should have been Michael? No, it's JaMychal.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right, you're off the hot seat, but we like to end all our interviews, JaMychal, with something we call 5 for the road. So it's a simple question, first thing that comes to mind. Okay. Favorite professional sports team, any sport, you can't say the Grizzlies.
Okay, first team come to my mind was the Atlanta Falcons.
Growing up, that was your team?
Yeah, growing up.
Yeah, there's no professional sports teams in Alabama.
So Atlanta is like the closest, next thing closest to us, so Falcons.
Falcons, okay. How about your favorite pro athlete of all time?
Michael Jordan.
MJ?
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite music, genre, artist, who do you like to listen to?
Right now, I'll say Doe B. He's from my hometown.
Is he really?
Yeah. He passed away recently, but he signed with Hustle Gang with T.I.
Wow.
But yeah, he was a pretty good rapper.
And do you like to listen to music before a game?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it put me in my zone. You know, takes my mind away from everything else, and I could just focus.
So it focuses you. It doesn't. I worry sometimes if it relaxes you too much.
Yeah. See, some music, you know, it depends on what type of music you like. I don't really like slow jams before a game or anything like that, because I need something to.
You come out lethargic for a game.
Yeah.
You need to be fired up.
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right. Favorite movie of all time.
Favorite movie of all time. It's tough. I could tell you the favorite movie so far that I watched. That would be Creed or Southpaw.
Did you like Creed?
Yeah, I like Creed. But
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I seen it last week on TV.
So you really enjoyed it?
Yeah, I enjoyed
Have you seen the Rockies, the other Rockies?
I have.
You've seen the original Rocky?
Yeah, yes, sir.
And so you'd go Creed better than the original Rocky?
I wouldn't say all that. You know, Rocky.
Close,
Yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah, it's definitely a good movie.
Favorite television show? All time?
Martin.
So many people say Martin.
Yeah, Martin.
What is he doing now?
I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know.
He's disappeared, but he was fantastic.
He was.
You were fantastic. JaMychal, thank you so much.
Sir. Thank you.
Continued success.
Yes, sir.
We'll take a break. That was JaMychal Green. Overtime is next. Before too long, spring will be here and then summer right around the corner. And that means folks flooding to the great outdoors. With Pickwick and Sardis in our backyard, boating is as popular as anywhere. And last weekend, we got a taste of what's new this year with the 52nd annual Mid-South Sports and Boat Show at the Agri Center. And here's a look back at some of the sights and sounds.
We got tons of boats this year. There's more boats than we have ever had this year. We got fishing tackle, trout ponds. There's runabout, ski boats, pontoon boats, fishing boats, anything you would want to be in the water. We have a bunch of new dealers this year. We have 2 outside vendors this year. It's all new. Sound systems for your boat, wakeboards, skis, life jackets, just about anything you'd want.
Put them in the water, right?
Is this your secret spot?
I don't see fish flavored fudge.
Not yet.
We have a 2016 23 LSV here. It has automatic surf gate and wedge on it. It's really cool that they added a new invention where the rider behind the boat has a bracelet on his wrist and can control the surf gate and the wedge from there. So if he wanted to go faster or slower, he'd be able to do it from riding behind the boat, and as well as changing the wake from the left wake to the right wake.
Bethany, correct me if I'm wrong, but those aren't boats. How'd they get in here?
I'm not sure.
Next year we'll have even more boats. I've already got boat dealers that want more space. We're going to fill the courtyard up next year. And we'll have, we're working on right now going ahead and get more tackle. You know, this used to be the tackle show of Memphis, and it will be the tackle show of Memphis.
Well, tomorrow is senior day for the Memphis Tigers, who host Tulsa at 3 o'clock. It's been a rocky season, to say the least, but it's a chance for University of Memphis fans to say goodbye to Shaq Goodwin, Tresson Burrell, and Ricky Tarrant Jr. And that's it for now. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Production funding for Sports Files is made possible in part by
Infiniti of Memphis has moved to Germantown Road, just half-mile north of Wolf Chase Galleria, and is proud to support WKNO for its quality broadcasting and service to our community. Quality and service? No wonder Infiniti of Memphis feels at home on WKNO. The Lighting Source, major line distributor of commercial and industrial lighting, including hard-to-find bulbs and fixtures, as well as a broad range of LED products. With 35 years' experience servicing lighting needs, The Lighting Source proudly sponsors Sports Files.